Hi. Today's recipe is a delicious sausage and tomato lasagna. And the first thing that you want to do actually is soak your noodles. In lieu of cooking them, I'm just soaking them in warm water. And the warm water is just straight out of the tap. And I'm doing it right in the dish that I'm going to bake my lasagna in later, just to save on dishes. And you guys know how I like to save on dishes. So you just soak these in hot water out of the tap. And when you're putting them into the dish, make sure that you alternate the layers in different directions so that they don't stick together. And you can do this, and they should soak the whole time that you're making your sauce, which is going to be about 25 minutes start to finish. For the sauce, you need 1 large onion, and that should be finely chopped or minced. I have a tendency to cut my onion really, really small when I'm making tomato sauce because, well, often I don't put onion in my tomato sauce at all, but it does add a nice layer of sweetness. But I don't like to have big chunks of onion in there, so I try to cut it up pretty fine so that when you're sauteing it, it sort of breaks down and gets really soft very quickly. You also need 4 cloves of garlic minced. Same. I like to crush them first. Just, it breaks them down a little bit so that it's easier and quicker to actually get them minced. You can also, for this, and I like to do this at home, I do it actually all the time at home for tomato sauce, is use a garlic press if you have one. Do you guys have garlic press? I've asked this question before about garlic because I think that a lot of people use the chopped garlic that you buy, right? I know you do. It's okay. While you're finishing up mincing your garlic, you can heat your pan. Don't get it too hot. I have my pan heating on medium. I'll turn it up when I add my onions and garlic. When your pan is heated, add about 2 teaspoons of oil, give or take. You know me, I'm a little bit more generous than that, but if you want to be low on calories, go ahead and use the smaller amount. Then add your onion and your garlic. That's not my major concern right now. I'm more concerned with flavor. This needs to cook until it's translucent. You're going to add 1.5 teaspoons of Italian seasoning and 1/4 teaspoon of hot red pepper flakes, give or take, and season with some salt and pepper. The salt will help break down the onions more quickly, and of course it adds flavor. All right. When your onions are translucent, add a pound of sweet Italian sausage removed from the casing. If you can get the kind that's just like the flavored sausage that's already out of the casing, go ahead and get that. Otherwise, buy the pound of sausage and just remove the casings. And then cook it, breaking up with the back of a spoon or the front of a spoon for that matter, until it starts losing its translucency or becomes a little bit more opaque. You have to be a little bit careful here if you haven't used a lot of fat. 2 teaspoons isn't very much, that your pan doesn't burn. So turn it down a little bit if it starts browning too much around the edges. You really don't want burnt onions in your sauce. When it begins to lose its rawness, for lack of a better term, you can add 2 cans of whole peeled tomatoes in juice. I'm using a straight-sided skillet here, but if you don't have a skillet that's deep enough to hold all of this, you can use, a stock pot or whatever you have. You want to cook this breaking up with a spoon. You can also cut up your tomatoes ahead of time or pulse them quickly in a food processor. That's what I have a tendency to do. Or sometimes, well, at home, what I do is I stick a stick blender into the can of tomatoes and just pulse them that way to break them down. Season again with a little bit more salt and pepper, and then you want to cook this and continue breaking it up with the back of your spoon until it's reduced and thickened and it has a great flavor and everything is melded. That'll take about 20 minutes. When your sauce is done, you're going to want to drain your noodles and then just lay them out on a baking sheet. You can dry them off a little bit, and then you can start assembling. You'll need a total of 6 cups of grated mozzarella and 3/4 of a cup of grated or shredded Parmesan cheese. Layer your lasagna like this. About a cup of sauce in the bottom of a 9x13-inch pan. It's a very chunky sauce, so don't worry about being too exact. I always say that with lasagnas. The idea is you just use all the sauce and you're going to have enough in there, right? Then layer your lasagna noodles. It's 4 noodles per layer. They can be slightly overlapping. Then about 2 cups of your sauce. The nice thing about using this soaking method for the noodles is that they get soft and a little bit more pliable, but they're not completely cooked. So then when you cook your lasagna, they don't end up mushy and overcooked, which I think is kind of icky. 2 cups of the shredded mozzarella cheese. And about 1/4 cup of the grated parm or shredded parm. And then you do the same layer again, 4 more noodles. All right, this one broke. That's totally okay. Just layer it in there. It's gonna be fine. Don't panic. More sauce. It's a very chunky sauce with that sausage in there. More cheese. And then a final layer of noodles. And the final layer of sauce is a little bit more. It's about 3 cups. All the remaining sauce. Spread it out. You want at least all of your noodles to have a sauce covering because that's what's going to finish cooking them and soften them. And then the remaining cheese. And then you're gonna just wrap it up in foil and bake it at 350 degrees until it's heated through and the cheese is all melty. That'll take about 1 hour. And then uncover it and bake it until it's bubbling and golden brown on top, about 30 more minutes. When you take your lasagna out of the oven, you're gonna wanna let it cool and set just a little bit. About 20 minutes should be good. And then you are ready to serve. Still really juicy and amazing. Actually, I was gonna use a spatula, but I think a spoon might be a better choice right now. Oh. Look how succulent that is. It's amazing. Oh man, this is gonna be delightful. Very excited. Really hearty, really delicious. Dinner for a crowd. Tomato and sausage lasagna. Give it a try. So good. If you like recipes like this and you want more, make sure to click like and subscribe because we have plenty more where this came from.